All right, well, hello, sixth grade. We are getting now into chapter 9. Today we're looking at lesson 9.1. And the first part, we have three parts that we need to look at today. The first part has to do with statistical questions. And the directions are going to ask you to determine whether each question is a statistical question, right, yes or no. And so you're going to be given different questions, and you have to determine whether or not they're statistical questions. Well, the key in this is understanding what a statistical question is. A statistical question yes, more than one answer. No, only one answer. Okay, so if there is more than one answer to the question, it is a statistical question. So for example, let's say you wanted to ask, what are the heights of all of the students in fifth grade? That would be a statistical question, because there's multiple answers. Not everybody is the same exact height. So there's multiple answers. If you asked a question like, how many countries in the world start with the letter R? There's only one right answer. And that would be, how many countries start with the letter R? So the key to that, I'm not expecting much, and we're not really going to be looking at examples. But when you look at your assignment, there's going to be two things that you do with statistical questions. The assignment gives you questions, and it asks a question. And you have to simply write yes or no as to whether or not it's a statistical question. If there is more than one answer, it will be a yes. That means it is a statistical question. If there would only be one answer to the question, it would be a no. It would not be a statistical question. And then you have to write an example of a statistical question, and you have to give a non-example of a statistical question. So an example of a statistical question might be, what are the models of cars that Toyota produces? Well, Toyota has many cars, like the Sienna and the Camry and the Corolla. And so there's more than one answer. So it is a statistical question. If you ask the question, what type of car does Fred drive? Fred has one car that he drives. There's just one answer. That would be a non-example of a statistical question. Second part of what you're doing today, find and interpret the number of data values on the dot plot. So what we have here is a dot plot, also known as a line plot sometimes. And it's titled The Number of Miles Walked During the Month of March. Well, each X represents a walk that went that many miles. So you can see there were 2 times that he or she did a 1 mile walk. 2 times that they did a 2 mile walk, 3 times that they did a 3 mile walk, 1 time that they did a 4 mile walk, never did a 5 mile walk, 3 times they did a 6 mile walk, 2 times they did a 7 mile walk, 1 time they did an 8 mile walk. So when we talk about find and interpret the number of data values, well, each X is a data value, so we count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 14 data values, okay? So when it talks about finding and interpreting the number of data values on the dot plot, first of all, we'd say, well, there are 14 data values. Now, what does that mean, that there are 14 data values? That means that the individual went on 14 walks during the month of March. Okay, so we'd say they went on 14 walks during March. And that would be the interpretation. All right? Not hard. I would expect that you would be able to handle that. All right, the third part is now we're actually taking information and we're actually going to create our own dot plot. Display the data in a dot plot. Masses in grams. So maybe we had some sort of animal here that was weighed, and each animal is represented here by a number of grams. This one was 20 grams, this one was 20 grams, you had some 21 grams, this one was 27 grams, this one was a little lower at 18 grams. And so we're displaying the data in a dot plot or a line plot, however you want to do that. Now, the first thing you want to do when you are creating a dot plot is you want to find your highest and lowest numbers. So I'm looking here, and it seems to me as if my lowest number is 18, as I see 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I don't see any 24s right off, or 25s, or 26s, but I see a 27, I see a 28. It looks like 28 is my highest number. So first of all, I make like a number line, essentially. And I go ahead and make the number line, 18. And I'm going to end at 28. So I'm going to go ahead and put 18. And to save some space, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, that's 19. That's 20. 21. 22. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So not totally even, but you get the idea. And then each of these are the odd numbers, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27. So we're going to start with 18. I see 118 here. I see another 18 there. So we're going to go with two 18s, which means 2x's over 18. And if I miss one, I can always come back to it later. So it looks like I've got one 19. I see another 19. I see another 19. So initially it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3 19s. Then it looks like I got 120. 2 20s, 3 20s, 4 20s, 5 20s, 6 20s. All right, so it looks like actually what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this down. All right, and I apologize for this, but 18, 28. I know I have two 18s. I've got 3 19s. That's going to be 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. And how many 20s did we decide we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just to give us a little more room. How many 21s? Well, we got 1 21, 2 21s, 3 21s, 4 21s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. How many 22s? I've got one here. Looks like just one. Gonna make those a little darker. How many 23s? Looks like I got one there. Just one 23. And it, based on what I have left, does not appear that I have any 24s, 25s, or 26s. But I do have two 27s. So I'm going to come over here. And it looks like I have 128 left, and I'm going to put here. Now, what I always do with a dot plot, you count how many X's that you should have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 4 is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I come over here, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So I have 20 numbers, 20 plots. So there's my dot plot. But it's also telling me to focus on clusters, peaks, and gaps. Well, clusters are when you get a whole bunch of numbers together. Okay? Like I've got a whole group here, 18 through 23. It's all kind of plugged together. Now a cluster, I would say, would probably have at least 3 or 4 together. Okay, would have more than just 2 together. I would say at least 3 or 4 together. But here we have a cluster that we would say 18 through 23 would be a cluster because we don't have any breaks. Now we look at our peaks. Peaks would be the high point. And I see that 20 is a peak. 6, that's my high point. If I had another one that was 6, I would put that right there with the peak. But it's the only one I have, so I'm just going to put peak. Now when I have a gap, it shows a gap, I'd say, of at least about 3. Just like the cluster would have 3 together, I'd say a gap would skip at least 3. So I would say I would have a gap here of 24 to 26, and that would be considered a gap. All right, that's display the data in a dot plot showing the clusters, peaks, and gaps. All right, we'll talk to you later, 6th grade.